So yeah, UNC started recruiting James really, I would say in June. He had some really big performances at Pangos out west. He played really well on a couple of EYBL stops. He's with Mean Streets this year. They're 16 and under team. And before that, he was with Mac Irvin Fire. So the two named Chicago teams, he's played for both of them. And as June progressed, he played well. He played really well at MBVA Top 100 camp down in Orlando. We were down there. We watched him, and he was just really solid, really steady. And that's when Hero Davis, I believe, really put first eyes on him. And he got an offer. It might have been while we were there or the next night. From there, of course, they watched him in Kansas City. They watched him at the Peach Jam. And kind of as time went on, you realize that he was the only kind of 4 or 5 type big that they were recruiting in the class. And it showed just how much of a priority it was for them. So from there, he took official visits. He took 5 in the fall. He went to Missouri, Michigan State, UNC, Notre Dame, and Illinois. So UNC, the only kind of non-Midwest school in there. And he visited UNC in mid-October. So he had Notre Dame and Illinois after UNC. And once he came back from Illinois, he said he was going to kind of revisit everything, kind of talk about stuff with his family. They are a very detail-oriented family, so there are a lot of details to sort through. And here we are, just as the new year came in, and they decided to commit to UNC. And a big reason for it, you can kind of read it on the site in his own words. Similar to Trick Powell, he did something with us where he kind of explained why he chose UNC, but what he kept coming back to was that UNC was bigger than basketball. And I think we can get into it, but just the way Hubert Davis coaches his players and the way that UNC gets along with each other and the family concept, he really bought into that and really liked it.
Cheryl, I'm going to go ahead and say you need to trademark that because that is a marketing slogan if I've ever heard one. Bigger than basketball. I think that might stick around. It might be something we hear in the future. Sean, tell us a little bit about what UNC is getting in a player like James Brown. There's plenty of film out there of him. St. Rita is one of the bigger programs up in the Chicago area. Tell everybody what UNC is getting in this player.
Yeah, a very, very talented big man. He was really the first big man in the class of 2024 that UNC offered. I mean, you can go back to the late spring, early summer, where we had a lot of podcasts talking about who else will they be looking at. Really, the class started off with 2 offers, and then there was a lull until June. James Brown got the offer end of June, but you have a guy that kind of falls in that sweet spot that we talk about a lot of the time, where he doesn't, at least as of now, doesn't project as a one and done player, but he is ranked in that 25 to 40 sweet spot where UNC has had long-term success previously. And in terms of how he projects, I think he can be a multi-year starter at the college level. Obviously played at a high level, 16 and under on the Nike EYBL circuit with Mean Streets, as Sherelle mentioned, and then St. Rita's in Chicago as well. But you've got a guy he can run the floor pretty well, pretty lengthy. He definitely needs to add some weight. I think that's probably a familiar saying when you're talking about UNC recruits as well as UNC bigs, but he's got offensively, I'd say a little bit of an unorthodox game. He can step out about 12, 15 feet. He's comfortable shooting, right-handed jump shooter, but pretty much anything in the paint for the most part is coming with his left hand. Has a good touch, active around the basket, aggressive rebounding the ball. And he can also likes to probably won't see it in Chapel Hill, but you'll probably see it in some of the highlights of him pushing the ball up the court. Good passer for his size, and once again, kind of almost an old school big where he can operate down low, but he can stretch it, and I would imagine that range will just continue to expand over the years. But in terms of improvement areas throughout his junior season and into his senior season, just continuing to get stronger, work on, not the most explosive off of 2 feet, but just given his aggressiveness and his length, it does help him finish and attack the glass offensively.